What's up, everyone? Let's see, we're gonna wait till some people pop on. But let's start off, I guess. I am Tyler Mayer, and this is Leanne Thompson with TNT, and today we're gonna just discuss a little bit about competing and basically why you shouldn't compete, or why you should, in that matter. But there's always it's always a big topic, because a lot of people that never competed before really get hung up on reaching this goal and reaching this physique and this look that they want and desire, and they get caught up of really the reality of what can happen. And so we want to just discuss the real talk of competing and what it really is. We're not against competing, but we also promote and teach our clients and people that your health is your number one priority, especially your psychology, and just living a normal life, because just competing can really mess with you if you aren't in the right mindset coming into it. So that's just something we want to talk about a little bit. And looks like we got one person on. All right.
Oh.
Came off. So so we'll keep going. Yeah. Leanne, do you have?
Yeah, so I think if we talk about why you should compete first, I think that a little bit the idea of competing gets glorified, because maybe, everybody seems to know somebody who competed, or of course we see fitness magazines all the time on shelves, at grocery store or whatever, and you see these people, and when you see it, they look like they're the picture of health. So that looks like something everybody wants, to achieve. It looks like something really desirable. Yet a lot of people don't really know the behind the scenes story. So the bottom line is, yes, you should compete if you're in the right mindset. I think it can be very rewarding when done in the right mindset, because you can truly achieve your best self. But what you need to realize is that achieving your best self will happen a lot more in your brain than it ever will externally, because a strange thing happens when you compete, and that is I think most people that we coach, and even having competed ourselves, you start to lose touch with how you actually look in relation to other people, in relation to how you've looked in the past. You lose perspective on weight and things like that. So can be a really cool thing kept in perspective. It's a huge goal for a lot of people. The consistency and the structure that people get while they're going through the process of dieting and preparing for this thing and having this big goal, I think can be really rewarding in a lot of ways, especially done correctly. And I think because most people that compete are a little bit older, setting a big goal like that and having something structured to follow through with for a series of weeks and months is a really cool thing. And for a lot of people, it takes you back sort of to a feeling that maybe you had when you were younger, and you had these big goals, with sports or whatever it may be. Who knows what you participated in, but it brings back a fond feeling of just having a really big goal that you set out to do, and the structure and that feeling of success when every day you're taking small steps towards something you want, and it's fulfilling because you can see it externally. Whereas mindset and things like that, you obviously nobody else really sees, but that's something you experience. Like this, yeah.
Yeah, competing can be good and bad in a sense, where if you're not in the right mindset, it can really let you destroy things around you if you aren't careful. And please excuse the giant airplane flying over our building. I'm sure you can hear it in the background. But competing can be good and bad. In terms of it's great because you look and feel good, but others around you can sort of try and make you feel bad in that aspect of making you feel guilty about the things you're doing, or because you're hardcore and you're dedicated. Some people just really don't. Max, yes.
I wish.
I see you parachuting.
You wish, Max.
You're gonna parachute on the building next to us.
There's
Max.
There comes Raven.
Yeah, Raven's in another parachute. Yeah, so we'll see you soon, buddy. Anyway, competing can be good because you feel good, you go in looking your best, and it's really cool. But when you see a long-term goal really far away, you really need to look at the overall journey of what you're doing along the way, what you're learning, what you're creating in terms of like learning more about yourself along the way, instead of just focusing on hitting the stage, because then it'll just like totally warp your mind when you reach the stage, because it's so far away. And if you're not there already and it's like 6 months out and you're not there to that conditioning yet, or that leanness, or whatever physique you're going for, a lot of people just really get hung up on getting there now, and that it gets disappointing when you're not there now. And so start with some smaller goals if you're wanting to compete, even if you're a first timer or an experienced competitor. When I first started competing, it was really difficult for me because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't have anybody telling me these expectations or this honesty of the reality of behind it. And as the more I competed, the better I got with those smaller goals and reaching those smaller goals as I went on. And that helped me get through the prep longer. And I actually prepped longer. The more I competed, my preps would be at least 30 plus weeks. And so I created small goals along the way, and that helped me stay on track. Plus, flexible dieting helped tremendously for me to not feel like I'm binging all the time compared to when I was restricting myself. And so that's one thing, is always look at some short-term goals instead of the long-term of like you're gonna get to the stage and you want to get there now, because it can really mess you up psychologically, and because you're gonna start doubting yourself a lot more, especially with you being so far away. And as you get closer, you're gonna doubt yourself even more, and it's very common. A lot of people doubt themselves all the time, and because you feel like you're not good enough, and you feel like you're not gonna win, you're not gonna get a good place. That's another thing. If you go in with the expectations that you're gonna win or get a trophy, then if you don't get a trophy, you're really upset. So go in with the expectation of having fun, learning more about yourself, doing the best you can coming in the show, because that's really all you can do, is do the best you can, the best of your ability, and know that you did everything you possibly could coming into it, because then you won't be disappointed, because it's the best you possibly can, and whatever the judges decide is all subjective, and it's all what they think, not what you think. So really look at that and put it in perspective of the reality of what it is. But the last show I ever did, my pro show, I knew I wasn't big enough. I knew I wasn't going to do that well. I was going to do okay. And I just did everything I possibly could coming to the pro show. And I got like second or third to last of the whole show, or my class. So I was actually ecstatic and actually came in not nervous, because I did everything I possibly could, and I loved the journey. And because I learned so much. And then my next pro show, I got third. So that was fulfilling to me, to learn and grow and get better each show. So that's what makes it fun, is growing and learning, instead of just like, oh my God, I didn't get first place, I want to quit. Or I'm not there yet, even though I'm 2 months out. So just really take things into perspective and keep going from there.
I agree with that. I think that shifting your concept of what success will be while you compete is really important, because whatever your perception of that success is what will become sort of the lens that you look at the entire process through. So if your goal is just to get better each and every show, that is something you can control. So you talk about kind of happiness, and really there are a lot of things in our life and in our day that we can't control, but what we can control is our outlook towards the things that happen, and competing is no different. The reality is that you can't control the outcome of it, but you can control what you do every day. So when the focus becomes becoming your best self each and every day, and also just improving every show, then having that, as your reward makes 100% sure that each time you compete, it will be a positive experience. But the problem is, crazy things happen when you step on stage. The way you once perceived yourself will be changed forever. And I think we've watched, like with clients, and I know myself, it literally will change your perception of yourself and your body image for the rest of, who knows, I mean, maybe after years it goes away, but anything that we're putting that much effort towards mentally and physically is bound to, we overstate all those things in our mind. So when that becomes your focus, when you don't look how you perceived you should, or don't do how you thought you were going to, it can really mess with your head. And I can't count the number of people where it is disheartening, especially with women, because body image is so, guys have it too, but like women, your body image is something that is really, I don't know, since we're young, we're taught that we need to like look a certain way and, you know, whatever. So it's a part of our, just, I guess, psyche, if you will, that is easy to influence. So it's weird when you watch women prep and when you talk to them literally like right before the show, and you ask them like how they feel, and you know, they couldn't be prouder of like the way they look and you know how they've done throughout the prep. They feel their best. They're like, wow, this is the best I've ever looked. And then a crazy thing happens where they step on stage for 15 minutes and they give out the trophies, and then afterwards we have people crying in the backstage and people upset and people, you know, never wanting to compete again because 5 people sat in a panel of judges and you stood up there with, you know, 10 other people, and all of a sudden this concept of yourself has completely changed, even though you couldn't have been more sure of it moments before you stepped on stage. And in the entire process, as you looked at your progress pictures and whatever, that entire thing is just skewed by the opinions, you know, of who you stood on stage with and 5 judges. So going into shows without the idea, this, you know, overall perspective on it, I think can be dangerous, because the reality is it happens to everybody, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No matter how many shows you do, you just consistently have a litally reality check as to your body image, because you see those pictures or whatever and you think you could do better.
Could do better. For those who jumped on recently, we are just discussing like reasons why you shouldn't compete, and also reasons why you should compete if you're considering it. And the topic is kind of compelling because a lot of people are probably like, wow, you guys prep people, but you're telling us not to compete. Well, no, that's not what we're doing. We're actually discussing, you know, if you're on the fence of competing or not competing, we encourage you not to, especially if your psychology isn't intact, or if you're not aware or upfront and just aware of what the possibilities could be as you prep, because it's very difficult. For those who are listening and really liking what we're saying, just kind of give us some likes if you don't mind, and you know, share it to people to let them know the reality of competing and just really what it is, because competing can be really tough if you've never done it before, especially if, you know, if you're getting to a level of conditioning and leanness that you've never been at. It becomes very, very hard. It's very difficult. You know, we mentioned a lot of the pros about competing. Competing's a lot of fun. And we really reiterated on just enjoying the journey and just realizing what you're doing along the journey, instead of waiting till the end and just focusing super hard on looking a certain way on stage and being a certain way, and that everyone, you know, below you judging you is determining your fate, or like your life. And if you don't get the placing that you wanted, your life's not over. And it's all about improving. If you didn't place at a show, my first show I ever did, yeah, I placed in novice, but the open, I didn't place at all. And that was upsetting for me, because I wanted to place, but it just made me work harder. It made me work to get better for myself. And that's what it's all about, is improving. It's not the person next to you. It's not the person who told you what to do that is the problem. It comes down to you and what you want to do and what you put into it. Because if you did a show and didn't look your best, you got to look at your prep and ask yourself, did I put everything into it? Did I do everything I possibly could to come out successful? And if you're saying no to that answer, then you got to look at what you could have done better. And so that's one thing we got to look at too when we're prepping and doing a show.
I think that maybe it sounds a little biased because we are, you know, coaches, but not so long ago I wasn't a coach. So I think the thing to keep in perspective as a client is just realizing that each and every time you prep, especially with flexible dieting, it is very structured and there's a lot of science that goes into it. But in essence, the relationship you're forming with your coach and all that data that you're gathering day by day by day is a science experiment. Yes, you know, you've had experience with lots of other people, but nobody will be your exact you. So working as a team with your coach and building a relationship and, you know, trust and being honest in terms of what you're doing day to day and whether you're adhering well to what they're saying is creating that bigger picture. And it also, when you form that relationship, it lets you realize when you step on stage, like, it is a team effort, number one. And number two, whether it goes good or bad, remember that that person, you know, had your back and was doing their best to, you know, do everything that they could to bring you to be your best self. However, there are so many variables that change every time, and no prep is the same. And literally, our physiology is like a walking science experiment at any given point of the day. We're always different. Like, our entire being is different from day to day, even in terms of like our cells and just the way we respond. So just keep in mind, and don't forget to give your coach some,
keep everything in perspective.
Yeah, don't blame people. That's also, just if you really are focused on being your best self, you'll kind of be able to keep that in perspective better and realize that the relationship you built and the trust you sort of gained is all part of that, which you know, get out of this experience, because it's so much more than just stepping on stage, or it should be done properly. And it can also, the thing I like about it is if you're really willing to be open-minded and to truly be your best self, then you can absolutely achieve best self by pushing your...
350.
What's that? Oh. By pushing your comfort zone. I think just being a woman, that's why I wanted to compete, was I know how to look a certain way. I intuitively ate for a long time and, you know, maintained the same weight, but I wanted to see how good I can get. So remember that the entire process of competing is not just dieting and dieting and dieting, it's also reverse dieting so that you can become something better than you were before. And I think that's where people, their trust in the process starts to dwindle, because they're not looking the way that they, you know, perceive themselves looking. But if you picture that you're going to, if you can keep this phase in perspective, that's how we get better and better. And that's where you truly gain mental strength through the process, is not only the dieting down, but the reverse dieting. There's a big picture of it all to get better each and every show, which that should be your ultimate goal. A lot of people compete, but not everybody does it well. And by that, I mean, what are they really getting out of it? Are they bringing a different package mentally, physically, etc.?
Because at the end of the day, if you compete, you got to figure out really what your why is as to why you're competing. Because a lot of people are just going to a show thinking that, oh, I want to look my best, my greatest, which, yeah, you want to look incredibly lean and shredded and look fabulous on IG when you pull up your shirt. That's really cool, but you got to think about why you're competing and why you're doing what you're doing. Because if it's looking for something that you're basically lost and you're trying to find something as to why you're competing, you're gonna walk off stage. Even if you get first place, you're gonna be happy for the moment, but then after that, you're gonna be like not happy. And that's really oh, thank you, Louie. I know I look good. Thanks. You can tell Anthony that. You're gonna really like lose sight of what's really going on, because if your why is to like make yourself better or do something good for yourself or improve your health, or you know, something that can help you long term, that's going to be more fulfilling than winning a trophy. Because if you win trophies, I've walked off stage literally before, like, wow, this is awesome, I got this pro card, I got this trophy, I got this badass trophy. Now what? Now I'm like, okay, it's just a pro card. I've learned that it's not really a big deal, and that I really wasn't happy coming out of it. It was fun that I got the card, but after that, like, I was like, why am I really competing? And it wasn't, and I figured out why I was competing, and it wasn't for reasons that I thought were good for myself. And once I figured that out, I actually stopped competing, because I'm fulfilling my life with something else. But I love coaching people, and that's where my fulfillment comes into play. I might compete in the future, but I love competing, but it would be a different mindset going into it, thinking that I would, my why would be different. It would be much, much different, and I would love to, you know, share that with people if I ever competed again. But that's the bottom line. I've heard of competitors like literally walking off stage thinking like, I'm not happy still. So think about why you're doing it, what it is that is driving you to compete. Because it's just getting on stage and looking fabulous for 10 minutes is not really a life long. It's a cool thing to do, but it's not going to create happiness. It's not going to create this self-prophecy fulfilling like thing. It might for some people, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that, but you really have to put a deeper meaning behind it, because if you don't, then you're just not going to be happy. And that's the bottom line, is trying to be happy with what you're doing, with, you know, improving yourself. It's all about improvement. So if your mindset really isn't in the right place coming into a show, or just, you know, as you diet down, mindset changes. You do have doubts. I have my own doubts when I compete, when I diet. Leanne does herself as well. We aren't perfect. We're human, and we make mistakes too. So, but we also have coaches, and we help each other to bring ourselves back up. And then we're like, what the hell was I thinking? You know, I'm fine. So that's kind of what you have to be self-aware of what you're doing, and realize that you're being a butthead, and that you just gotta snap out of it. And sometimes that helps, just to get that snap in front of you, and to realize that you're you know, you're not doing what you should be doing. So that, let's say.
How about is not more like right now? Speaking of those self-doubts.
But yeah, that's the moral of the story. You gotta just be self-aware and have fun, because if you're not having fun, then it's not worth competing. If you're just an angry person that's pissed off because you're not shredded and you're not looking the way you are, or looking the way you like coming into a show, and you just feel like it's the end of the world and you're a failure, then you shouldn't compete. Because if that's like, if everything weighs on you to win a first place, then you shouldn't compete. I mean, that's just in my own opinion. I've noticed, at least for myself personally, I've had the most fun on stage when I came in with no expectations, only on myself, knowing that I did everything I possibly could to come into the show. Because if I had expectations of I'm getting first place no matter what, or I'm doing this no matter what, and I didn't get that, then I'd feel pissed and I'd feel unhappy. When I won my pro card, I came in with expectations that I was gonna lose, that I was gonna not do well, in terms of like, I just came in like kind of going through the motions, going with the flow, because I did everything I could leading up to it. And when I won, that was like icing on the cake. It was like a shock. It was like, holy shit, I won. That's awesome. I didn't expect that. So it was a lot more fun because of that. So that's just something that's from my own perspective, and I'm sure everyone else has their own as well. But we just want to, you know, share our side of things and kind of give you a different insight. What since Leanne, you started competing, what have you kind of noticed from competitors the most when they're kind of on the fence?
I would say, I guess I'm that weird voice of reason, because like a lot of people ask me via Instagram about competing and things like that, and if they should. And I've actually had like lengthy conversations with people telling them, especially females, telling them they actually shouldn't, because of whatever they're describing to me in their life, and the situation, you know, that they're in with, you know, just whatever it may be, in my opinion, leading to that being like an unsuccessful outcome, because there's just too much going on. I think that's when you were talking about other things I was going to say, having the proper like support system around you while you compete is huge, because it really is a team effort. And it's not to say that it can't be done alone, but chances are you're going to need people to put you in check throughout, because you will lose touch and you will get these weird goggles that you're looking through, where you can't see yourself for like what you are, no matter which phase of the prep you're in, whether it be, you know, dieting down and really close to the show, or in reverse, or whatever. You're going to need those balanced opinions around you to tell you that you're crazy sometimes, because it will make you crazy. I promise you. I think anyone who's competed can say that it will, if you do not constantly evaluate and be self-aware of your outlook and your, you know, perspective on things, it will warp you. You will become warped. So yeah, that's what I have told a lot of people they shouldn't compete. And if they decide to, you know, I would always be there to support them in their decision. I know, and I've talked with Tyler about it, and I've come to a couple points, even with as well as I've done, where I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I still competing? So what he said rings true for me, where up to this point in my career, I really have expected nothing from it. I've expected myself to be my best self every single show, and a lot of really cool things have happened to me along the way, and I truly think that that's why they have happened, because I came into it not expecting anything other than to challenge my own perception of what is the best I can be, like mentally, physically, how good can I get? So that's sort of it. And I will say, just speaking personally, this year has been different, and it's probably been my most challenging off season because I do have a really big goal to turn IFBB pro, which is scary, and it's placed like a whole new, sort of set of emotions on it, and it is that end result. And I can tell you, having my eyes on that end result has made things a lot more difficult on me, and it's made it a lot more mentally challenging to stay in the right mindset and perspective. And that's just an example of somebody who's competed a lot of times and been very blessed to have a lot of success and great people around me. That's still me saying that it will mess you up if you have this end product that you need out of it. I promise you, it's not going to turn out how you hope. It's going to mess with you a lot.
Yeah, if you don't get that, then it's going to mess with you even more because you work so hard to get there. But in reality, if you don't get your pro card, then you just basically regroup and try and get it next time. You just keep working at it and get better each time, and you work and build yourself up. And that's what the overall goal is. That's what you really have to do is just take it one step at a time, because it's not going to be there overnight. You're not going to get that physique that you desire instantly. So the name of the game, it really is a marathon. The tortoise always beats the hare. If you try and be the hare, then you're actually going to be destructive, because if you're trying to drastically cut your food or calories and get shredded immediately overnight, you can't sustain that, and you'll be a product of what I've done in the past, where I did a drastic diet years ago, my first show, and I ended up gaining 30 pounds in 1 week. And that was freaking miserable.
Terrible.
I was a blob, and I could literally feel food in my esophagus, like stuck, just sitting there, because I had so much food in me. And it's pretty disgusting. But that was a reality of, I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm not competing. It's pretty gross. But yeah, that's the reality of competing. We're not saying competing is a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It can be really, it can bring out the best in you. I will say for myself, if I had never competed, I wouldn't be where I am today. Not just because of being a coach, but also just being dedicated and committed to something. And I've learned to put my commitment and a lot of dedication into other things now, because I keep stemming off of that. Maybe that comes from my sports history and background, that I was able to move that dedication into bodybuilding, and then from bodybuilding to work or business, and then keep going from there. But that's just one of the mentalities that I've always had and grown up to be, is a work hard, ethical type of person. But it helped me realize, it helped me learn a lot about myself. So once you do reach that goal of getting on stage, if it's a first place trophy or just a trophy in general, or just to do it because you're trying to reach a better you, freaking awesome. Like, that's just the icing on the cake. But if you're there, that you're only going to be this way, you're only going to get this, you're only going to do that, and this is why you're doing it, because you want to get a trophy, otherwise I don't want to compete. If you're so demanding like that, then you're not going to be happy along the way. You're just going to be miserable. And those who I see that are like that are the most difficult people to prep in terms of, because psychologically they're just working themselves to death the whole time, instead of going with the flow. And I'm sure other coaches out there that might be watching this would probably say the same thing, because they're just really mentally taxed the whole time, and it's just not fun. It's just not fun, and it's exhausting, to tell you the truth. And then when you get to stage, you're mentally exhausted, and you don't enjoy the show. And so that's kind of what we want to portray today, is that, and share that insight with you guys. But do you have anything else to add or say?
There's so many things.
Sure, there's so many things we can talk about
things.
with it, but we can probably break it up into another video too.
Yeah.
Reverse dieting is something we mentioned. That's definitely one of the hardest parts about competing is reverse dieting. I'm sure a lot of people could attest to this, that reversing is by far way harder than the actual dieting process. At least it is for me. I'm sure it is for Leanne. Way harder. I'm sure a lot of people that are watching this would say the same thing. If you guys agree, give us some likes or just give us some yeses, comments, or whatever.
And thank you to everyone who commented. Alexis, thank you. I know that you're gone probably, but just thank you to everyone who commented.
And we'll try and get some answers to the questions you guys commented after this video too. But if there's anything you guys ever want us to talk about, we're actually going to do more live videos on this channel, on the Tyler's Nutrition Training and Fitness page. Also check out flexibledieting.com, where we have some great coaching programs on there, and we also are doing live video blogs, live video on there as well. And also, if you want to subscribe to these videos that we're doing, message us through the Tyler's Nutrition Training and Fitness page, and then you'll actually be subscribed. If you get subscribed, you can subscribe to these videos, and we'll let you know next time we're on and the next time, or what we'll be talking about. So
why would you not want to see Tyler's glasses again and again?
This doesn't look as good. This is like superior.
Yeah, see, hearts.
Yeah, see, we got
hearts
hearts.
for
Give me
your glasses.
Give me hearts. You want glasses? Everyone wants hearts.
Tap hearts
Let's see some
for Tyler's glasses.
Tap hearts for glasses.
Come on,
We
hearts
need more.
for glasses.
More. Oh, just the thumbs for. This is for thumbs for no glasses. Hearts for glasses. Yes, hearts.
He's voting for hearts.
Yes.
Woo!
We got hearts. Oh yeah, looks like I'm keeping the glasses. Keeping the glasses.
Oh man.
You guys, Myron. Guys, I am actually getting real glasses, like normal ones. Not. This is actually helps with eye strain. It's just here for Leanne's muscles. Let's see the muscles.
Thank you. I don't
See
like flexing.
Now you gotta kiss them.
No.
Kiss
That's
them.
too much. I couldn't even do it. I did it one
Kiss.
time. Remember? I did it that one time.
They said they want kisses on your muscles.
No, they didn't.
You can't see that.
They did not say that.
I get glasses. Actually, Petro wore these glasses for like an hour one day when he came over to my house, and I thought he was going to steal them from me. So these actually help with eye strain. Those who are on a computer, I know this is totally relevant to our video, but if you are on a computer, I'm not even kidding you. I was not a believer until I tried it the first day.
It doesn't actually.
I don't strain as much. I don't get headaches anymore. I get like really massive headaches on my left side all the time from the lights and the computer screen. But I also just thought I would like look like a douchebag. Leanne, do you do coaching?
Yes, I coach at Tyler's Nutrition Training. Thank you for asking, Bree. I appreciate it.
Yes, you coach. If you guys are interested in coaching, we go to teamtntfitness.com. We're going to help coach with contest prep, but then also general weight loss as well. Then you can also check out flexibledieting.com. So if you guys want further coaching. But until next time, yeah, subscribe to our channel here. Go to our messaging on our page, Tyler's Nutrition Training and Fitness on our page. Also on Flexible Dieting, it's actually the Flexible Dieting on our page, where you can actually subscribe through that channel as well. And that's more like weight loss, macronutrient, nutrition, training, where this is more contest prep, more contest prep related type information. So yeah, if you guys want to subscribe, go there, and we will see you guys next time. Thanks for joining in, guys.